Here comes Volk.
Hello and welcome to the Bullsnakes basketball show here on ProView Networks, the first ever episode of the Bullsnakes basketball show. I'm your host, Thomas Senna, and joining us today will be the head coach for the Bullsnakes, Mr. Mike Houston. From the Egg and I, we have Jessica Tafoya, and the owner of the Bullsnakes, Nick Lorenzo. But first, before we get to the guest, I want to start off by kind of setting the table a little bit, telling you a little bit about the team, about the league they'll be playing in. The Albuquerque Bullsnakes will be playing in the ABA, the American Basketball Association. You might remember the ABA that ran between 1967 and 1976. They had Dr. J, Artis Gilmore, David Thompson, all sorts of great legends passed through that league until they merged with the NBA in 1976. So you still have the Pacers, Nets, Nuggets, and Spurs who play in the NBA currently, all part of the old ABA. So in the 2000, a group of investors actually bought the rights to the ABA, and that league has been running fully operational, playing games ever since. So the Albuquerque Bullsnakes will be playing in the far west region of the ABA, along with various other teams in that region. You have teams from Tucson, Seattle, a lot of neighboring states are part of that far west region in the ABA. So joining us right now to tell us more about that, I'm pleased to welcome the owner of the Albuquerque Bullsnakes, Mr. Nick Lorenzo. Nick, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for bringing basketball here to the state of New Mexico and to the Duke City.
Absolutely. This is a basketball town. Now was time to bring a professional basketball team. That's what we're here for. To cultivate, to elevate that basketball, desire of the people here, and to make this a great partnership with the city.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very much a basketball town. You're right about. So, what gave you the crazy, wonderful idea of actually purchasing an ABA team? Tell us about that process.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit crazy, because this is sports, but this is also business. So I have had this intention to purchased a franchise since 2014, but back then I was in a different state. I was too competitive to put an ABA team. So when I moved to Albuquerque, I said, well, that's the time. I mean, we have a void for a professional basketball team. I said, that's probably the right moment to start a franchise here in Albuquerque, in New Mexico. That was, the background story.
So it's been kind of a long time coming, and, this time now was just you were kind of striking while the iron was hot in a way. And you're a basketball fan.
Correct.
Yourself, I assume.
Yes, I am. I mean, since I was a little kid, I started playing basketball probably when I was 14. Of course, you can tell, and I would be a successful basketball player. So, but I play. I love the game. I love the business side of it. And when we came to Albuquerque, of course, you have other teams. Not professional team, but college team that very, very well known. They are part of the fabric of the culture of the city and the state. But I do believe we have a space. We have a role to play in the sports arena. This is why we are here, and it is a business. I said there is several parts of it. Being the basketball. The main part, but there is, this back office. You have to deal with those issues. You have to deal with the finance. You have to deal with human resources. So it's a pretty complex of operation, but we're happy to do that. Because we love basketball and we think New Mexico deserves a basketball team, a professional basketball team.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of kind of getting the infrastructure up and running, you're building this team from scratch.
From the scratch, and the building process started last year, actually. Last year we had 2 tryouts, for example, in November and December. And of course, you have to go to the process of building the front office, hiring people in marketing, the coaching staff, volunteer, interns. So it's a big, long process. We're still in that process up until the season starts in November.
Sure. How did you go about actually finding the coaches and the players who will be suiting up for the Bullsnakes?
Well, the coach, I mean, after getting to in Albuquerque, of course, I started, using some local contacts, and I interview five potential coaches, and then, I interview Coach Houston, and after I spoke with them a few minutes, I said, well, seems that this is the right guy. He has a lot of experience, dealing with the young guys. He's a name here in Albuquerque, in New Mexico. Has 30 years plus. So
Yes.
he's the right man to lead our team to hopefully a victory in the ABA. And I'm pretty happy. We're pretty happy with this coaching work so far. And that's what I think. Great man, great leader, and a great coach.
And as far as the players go, the ABA seems to have a philosophy of they're very community-oriented. So you see a lot of local players. So that was kind of your route when you were trying to field a roster with players, right?
Yes, all our players have something to do with New Mexico. Some of them were born here, raised here, but a lot of them, they were not born here, but they went to school here, either college or high school, and they're all rooted here.
Yes.
They are, for all intents and purposes, they are New Mexico now. So that's the direction I want to take with this team, because I believe if we're going to be successful, we're going to partner with the city, with the community, and partnering with the community starts by having players that are local. Starts by helping the nonprofits, the community organization here in the state and the city. So that's the only way we see that we can be really successful as a team.
And part of that is getting maybe former UNM players currently on the roster. There's Devin Williams,
Yes.
Who was a full-time starter in the 2014-15 season, and then
Correct.
Michael Moned also has
Correct.
experience at UNM. So there's players that fans know and love, and other local players that they'll remember and get used to. So I want to go talk about your community partnerships. The Bullsnakes have a community partner program. So what types of things are you doing in the community to make that connection?
Well, right now we have partners with we have partnered with the YMCA, we have partnered with the American Heart Association, and we have partnered with a couple of youth leagues. The whole goal is to help those communities get exposure, because they all look for the same goal, to get exposure and hopefully get people to come and donate to those causes. We provide them with that platform. We have a gym full of people that have access, have their eyeballs on those community organizations. Obviously, in exchange, we'd like them to help us, get more in front of more people throughout the database. That's the partnership. Doesn't cost any money to the community organization. And we also have the special nights on each game. Each game is dedicated to a specific non-profit or community group where we donate, 50% of the proceeds to that specific organization.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you also want to get the players out in the community by doing maybe meet and greets and everything. What's kind of the plan to get the players out to meet with the community?
Correct. So, yeah, this is part of this program. For example, we're bringing new sponsors on board. For example, we're going to do meet and greets on the location of our sponsors. Just to mention one, Egg and I is
Sure.
our official breakfast company. We're going to do throughout the year, throughout the season, we're going to do 4 meet and greets at that location. We are talking with our community partners, nonprofit, also to do some activities with the kids, for example. We don't have a set calendar, but it's something that is in the works. It's something that we'll be doing throughout the season. That's really the way we can help them somehow.
Okay, that sounds great. And real quick, when's the next game?
The next game is May 11th in Gallup, New Mexico. We're going to play against the Gallup Blazers, a local team, very good, very competitive. We hope we can win that game, obviously. And there is expectation that we're going to have a full gym. And after that, we're going to have another game in Gallup on the 30th of June. And a big stage, which is the Gallup High School that seats, 6,000 people. So that's the schedule. From that point, we'll schedule more exhibition game, but then the season's coming up in November. That's really where we are now, scheduling the games for the upcoming season.
Well, thank you so much for bringing basketball back to New Mexico and for all you're doing for the community. Coming up after the break, we have from the Egg and I restaurant in Albuquerque, owner and operator Jessica Tafoya. You're watching the Albuquerque Bullsnakes basketball show on ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every ProView Network broadcast live on the NFHS network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProViewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
Welcome back to the Bullsnakes basketball show here on ProView Networks. The Bullsnakes are committed to serving the community via wonderful community partners. One of those partners is joining us right now, Jessica Tafoya, the owner and operator of the Egg and I restaurant, the wonderful, delicious Egg and I restaurant here in Albuquerque. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thank you.
So one thing that people will notice when they walk into the restaurant is a bunch of plaques and newspaper articles kind of documenting how you guys help the community. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the community right now?
We do a lot of community things like the Toastmasters, the Kiwanis comes in weekly, every week, and then we also donate to all the schools. So any of the students actually come in and ask for the donation, themselves. It's kind of terrifying to come in and, ask for that kind of stuff. And so we take all that on and we do that for the community. We're selling candy bars right now for a football team for one of the APS schools. And
yes, so if kids need, if they need some sort of fundraiser or anything like that, they'll come in and they'll be greeted with a warm welcome. You can kind of ease their anxieties.
Of course.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the Kiwanis Club and Toastmasters, so you have a meeting room at the restaurant. What else can people use that meeting room for?
You can request the meeting room. It holds up to about 50 people, so you can have it privately to host like your baby showers or birthday parties, wedding receptions, that kind of thing.
All sorts of great events. Yeah, one thing that stood out to me that I found out from you was that there's a kids program
Yes.
involving pancakes.
We run it all summer, and we run 4 to 6 kids' days all summer long, and they get free pancakes, and then we set up a little decorating station, and they get sprinkles and fresh berries and bananas and strawberries and whipped cream and all that can decorate their pancakes, and they have fun at it, and then they can eat their pancake afterwards while their parents order food. And
how exciting for the kids. I bet,
it's a lot of fun.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. I bet you have a great turnout.
We do.
Yeah, so when the seasons change or for different types of things, you like to add menu items to your menu. So now that spring is upon us, are there any new menu items that customers could be looking out for?
Yes, we are running a Monterey Benedict right now, which is great. It's a homemade jalapeno corn cake, mixed with the local chili, roasted onions, spinach, bacon, avocado, fresh avocado on everything.
Oh, nice, like a local take on a classic.
Yes,
Benedict,
very much.
Yes.
And then your poached eggs and hollandaise sauce tops
Sure.
it off. It's #1 seller right now. It's wonderful.
Sure, yeah, and you have a dish with avocado in it, right, too?
Yes, we have avocado toast that we finally put on the menu. We probably sell it to almost every table. Avocados right now are very popular.
Oh, absolutely, and avocado toast especially
Yes.
is just a wonderful. If somebody's trying to watch their weight if they want to take in some delicious, good fats. That's why people are turning to avocados. So I know on your menu, people will be able to see a lot of different avocado options.
Yes.
Anything like that. Yeah. So anything maybe on the healthy side, if people walk into your restaurant and look for that?
Yeah, we have a few juices. We have 2 fresh juices that go through the juicer every day. No extra preservatives, no extra sugar. Everything's fresh through the juicer, so.
Yeah, that's important. You go to the store and buy juice, and you never know how much sugar is in it, or there's more sugar than people think. But so it's important to get that fresh squeezed juice, and you'll find a lot of fresh options at the Egg and I.
All the way through the menu.
All the way through the menu, and I know
Yes.
you're really diligent about doing that.
Yes, we try to keep all the produce super fresh.
Yeah, and I have a philosophy when I go to like a restaurant that serves breakfast that I can tell how good it is by the quality of the potatoes. And let me tell you, the Egg and I certainly passed the test. They're almost as good as my wife's.
Almost.
I have to say that because she might get a little mad at me if I don't. But they're right up there with my wife's quality potatoes. So you guys passed the potato test for me.
Wonderful.
You passed every test, the biscuits and gravy. So many good things at the Egg and I. So can you tell everybody the location again so they can go and enjoy it?
Sure, we're located at 6909 Manal Boulevard, right at the corner of Louisiana and Manal.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Jessica. And if you guys want to be a part of the Albuquerque Bullsnakes Community Partner Program, you can find more information by visiting gobullsnakes.com. Coming up after the commercial break, we have the head basketball coach for the Albuquerque Bullsnakes, Mike Houston. So stick around.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every ProView Network broadcast live on the NFHS Network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProViewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
And welcome back to the Bullsnakes Basketball Show here on ProView Networks, the very first edition of the show dedicated to the Albuquerque Bullsnakes, the newest pro basketball team here in the state of New Mexico, playing in the American Basketball Association. And joining me right now is the head coach of the Albuquerque Bullsnakes, Mike Houston. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Absolutely. So you have a ton of experience coaching here in the state. People definitely know you, over 30 years of experience, most recently at El Dorado High School.
Correct.
So how did the opportunity to coach the Bullsnakes come about for you?
Well, I had retired from APS for some personal reasons, and I went and helped a friend of mine out of Trisco Heritage, Adrian Ortega, and did that for a year. And about that time I got a call from Sally Marcus, and Sally came in and she says there's a professional basketball team coming to Albuquerque and he's looking for an experienced high school coach, and I thought of you right away. So
as Nick explained in the earlier segment, I spoke to Nick and we had a good sit down. And I got to tell you, because normally I wear a lot of shorts and things like that. And so when I first went and talked to Nick, he goes, "Well, this is going to be your interview." And I'm like, "What?" I usually dress a little better than that for an interview, but it was fine. Nick and I have a really good relationship, so I've appreciated him and certainly excited to be on the ground floor of this organization.
Yeah, it seems like it's worked out, and I think the team's really fortunate to have an experienced coach such as yourself. So I think the fans might want to know a little bit about what they'll be expecting as far as maybe offensive and defensive philosophies for the team. So what can you say about that?
Well, I mean, if you look at scores from the league, there's a website you can go to on the ABA, and a lot of the scores weekly are 165 to 140, and I've seen a couple of 189 to 120 games. So I don't know that there's a ton of defense played all the time.
We'll say that it's more fast-paced.
Yeah, it's very fast-paced. I mean, there are some rules within the ABA game rules that make it more fast-paced, so there's more possessions, and that's what they want. They want a that's going to score a lot of points. So, I mean, that certainly fits in with what we want to do, and we've got some good athletes, and so we try and run a pretty quick system, a fast break system, a system very similar to what Paul Westhead did way back in the early 90s with Loyola Marymount, and there's some smaller colleges around the United States that run what we would like to run eventually. We're not there yet. We're working towards that, but with it, there's a college that had a kid score 130 points in a basketball game recently.
Oh,
and
yes, I remember
and
that.
that's kind of a little outrageous, but I could see it happening in this league, to be quite honest. So those are things that we'll incorporate as we get closer to the season starting, and it should be a lot of fun. Who knows? Maybe we can hang 200 on somebody.
I'm looking forward to that, and judging by the first 3 exhibition games, it's definitely going to be high scoring. It's a very fast-paced, fun brand of basketball to watch. So you're essentially, as Nick and I talked about, building a team from scratch. So in that process, do any leaders on the team emerge, or they start still trying to fill each other out? What's that like behind the scenes?
Well, I think the best answer to both of those is yes.
Yes.
I think there's some guys that are natural leaders. Devin Williams, who we're going to speak about here in a minute, has come in, and because of his experience playing collegiately, and he's played some professional ball over in Europe, I mean, he has some of those skills. Certainly Damian Segura and some of those guys that are playing, Damian Salas, excuse me. A lot of those guys that are playing have been in leadership roles on teams that they played on before. Damian was a point guard at Albuquerque High and played for Jim Holtzman. Yeah. So, I mean, we have a lot of players like that, and I think that what we're in right now is we're kind of in a mode of trying to figure out what roles people play, who's going to be the most vocal leader, how are we going to play together. And it's going to take us some time continuity-wise, but we're getting there. I mean, every game has gotten better, even though, as a coach, we want to practice more so we can get better. But, at this point, we are what we are, and we're getting better at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back to Devin Williams. Lobo fans or Albuquerque basketball fans will remember Devin. Mm-hmm. He was a full-time starter as recently as 4 seasons ago for UNM. Unfortunately, his college career got cut short, but wonderful news. He's back playing basketball, doing great. So he's essentially 6'8" with guard skills. Probably a unique player for you to be coaching. I don't know if you've had a lot of 6'8" guards in your coaching experience.
Not too many. Not too many. He's, I guess a good way to describe him would maybe be a poor man's Kevin Durant.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that he has the ability to shoot from the perimeter. He does have ball handling skills and things like that. And if you watch Kevin Durant play, it's hard to imagine that a guy that's 7 foot tall can do the things that he can do. And that's kind of true with Devin too. I mean, he's worked on his moves facing up to the basket and being able to make good decisions while he's dribbling and things like that. So I mean, he's definitely, I would call him a poor man's Kevin Durant. So, for sure.
And he has the types of skills, maybe as a coach, you would look at him as like a Swiss Army knife kind of guy and a matchup problem,
Right.
which is a wonderful thing to have. And I know a few
Absolutely.
a few times per game, it's interesting seeing a 6'8" guy kind of put the opposing guard on skates. He has nice dribbling moves where at least once or twice a game, you'll hear the whole crowd say, "Ooh," they'll give that reaction. So Devin is just an absolute wonderful player on the team to have. Another player that's really surprised me.
He's a good person too. That's the biggest thing. He's a really good person.
Having had the chance to speak to him a few times since I've started helping with the team, he's very humble and very nice guy
Absolutely,
to be around. So another player that's definitely surprised me is Darius Hedgewood, a really aggressive, athletic guard. Where did Darius come from? Tell me about his game too.
Well, he's working for UPS here in town. I believe it's UPS, and he played in the ABA at one time. I'm not sure exactly where. I think he played somewhere in Texas at one time, but he's just been marvelous, and he's another really good guy. I mean, that's the thing that people don't know. They watch these guys play, and they don't really know anything about their personalities. And when Darius first started coming in and trying out, nobody knew a lot about him, but I was like, holy cow, this guy's fantastic. And, it goes back to what you said. He's very aggressive. He can make plays on his own. He can set other guys up, and, he's a good defender too. I mean, I think that's, you mentioned the defensive part of it, which I think we'll get better at the more we play together. He's a really good one-on-one defender, and that helps us down the line look at some things and see how we want to develop as a team.
Yeah, definitely. And I know on offense, if there's even a little sliver of daylight for Darius, it seems like he takes advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he can get to the line, draw fouls, things like that. He puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and he seems to be a good leader too. I know right now, unfortunately, he's out for a few weeks with the shoulder injury.
Correct.
Last game he was on the bench in street clothes, but he was still pumping the players up.
Right.
He was making sure he was engaged in the game. He was asking. I saw him ask the scorers table how many fouls Daniel Delgado had. So he was trying to keep the team engaged and helping them out. So it's really great to have leaders like him and Devin Williams, and I'm sure some other guys have helped fill in that role as well.
Right, and both of those guys have really bought into what we're trying to do and bought into the organization, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that needs to be emphasized, is that as we get going through this and we start playing more games and people get to know more about us, is that we buy into what's being done out there on the floor, because I've had people come and tell me, how entertained they were with the game and how much fun it was and how well it flowed and all those other things. As a coach, you're going like, did you watch the third quarter? We didn't flow with anything. But I'm glad to hear those kind of things, not necessarily from basketball novices, but from people who, have watched college basketball and professional basketball and things like that. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know as a basketball junkie myself, and I'm also the PA announcer at the game,
Right.
so I get a really close view, and I love watching the level of play and the athleticism and everything like that. And as the PA announcer, I think your job is to make my voice disappear by the end of the night. If I'm screaming out loud and calling, exciting plays for you guys, and I don't have a voice when I get home, then I think you guys did your job.
There's probably a few of those that want me to get quiet.
Oh, no. Well, Coach Houston, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for everything and for your support and for being the announcer for the Bullsnakes. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
I'm happy to do it so much. And I want to thank, of course, Coach Mike Houston and our other guest, the owner of the Albuquerque Bullsnakes, Nick Lorenzo, and the owner and operator of the Egg and I in Albuquerque, Jessica Tafoya. You can keep an eye out for upcoming exhibition games, and by going to the website, please visit gobullsnakes.com, and also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by searching Albuquerque Bullsnakes. Thank you so much, everybody. Keep on the lookout for future shows, and be kind to one another.